well. Good afternoon and welcome to the live webinar Business Intelligence and Smart Service. I'm really happy to be here today with some special guests. And of course, as you know, today we'll be talking about business intelligence and smart service. So for this reason, we invited guests that will give you some insight on that. So I would like to actually let them introduce themselves. So I will briefly later on introduce the agenda for today. Please.
I'm Alexander Grigoriev. I'm associate professor at the School of Business and Economics, quantitative and economics department, and I'm one of the coordinators of the Business Intelligence and Smart Services newly created master program.
Hello, I'm Aranka de Barmonson. I'm an alumna of the School of Business and Economics. I graduated last year in September, and I also followed the thesis internship program at the university. Currently, I'm working at Mercedes-Benz as a business intelligence specialist.
And my name is Bram Foubert. I'm an associate professor in the Department of Marketing and Supply Chain Management. My expertise is in the area of marketing analytics, and while together with Alex, I'm coordinating this new program, Master of Business Intelligence and Smart Services.
Great, thank you very much. Well, I also take the chance to introduce myself. I'm the Master Recruiter Advisor within Marketing and Communication here at the School of Business and Economics. And since recently we've seen so many questions about this new master program and so much interest, we decided to actually create a dynamic place, virtual in this case, where you can drop all your questions. So what we're going to do today, I will of course interact with the special guests here, but please feel free also to drop your questions, and I will be definitely moderating and happy to bring them to the guests. But I think that it's very interesting today, since we're talking about business intelligence and smart service, to understand what is exactly meaning business intelligence and smart service in 2017.
Well, I will take over.
Okay.
Business intelligence and smart services. Well, first of all, the combination of words consists of two parts, of course, business intelligence and smart services. Yeah. And actually, it's not for nothing. It consists of two parts, so it's widely recognized that this is the era of data, of big data, all these buzzwords, you know. And all the businesses, all the services, all the production nowadays is data-driven. It's also recognized. Well, but actually there is a huge demand for specialists in the field of the business intelligence implementations and applications in the services, and that's why we decided actually to glue these two parts together, so business analysis, business intelligence to the services. And well, you all know that basically we are working with all these gadgets, with iPhones, iPads, Android phones, etc. So you are guided through the city with help of those services. You are guided through the parties even with these services. And those services should be supported, they should be developed, they should be promoted, and so on and so on. So this creates this need for implementation and application of business intelligence and data-driven things in the services. That was recognized already quite long ago, but now we are in 2017. Well, we decided, actually School of Business and Economics, Maastricht University, we decided already quite long ago to start developing the programs for business intelligence and business analytics. And the first trial was, of course, a little specialization in the international business program, which we call Information Management and Business Intelligence. But since the things are growing, and nowadays actually all the services, all the companies need so many specialists in the field, we decided also to grow from a specialization in a track to the full body program, and that's where are we in 2017, and that's why we created the whole program for those things.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it's very interesting to know also the background of the creation of this master, so also to know a little bit more how we get there and how we get to where we are at the moment. And actually what I'm really curious about, I know that many of the students as well, because I received so many questions from you, and I think that it's very interesting to understand how this program can really reflect the needs that at the moment are on the market.
Maybe I could take that one. Honestly, I think it's a very important question. It's a question that students that consider this program should answer for themselves and should get an answer to. Look, there are many different master programs. Some master programs are more academic in nature, some are very broad in scope. This master program is not such a master program. This is a master program that caters to a very specific need in the labor market. If there is one thing, Germano, that we've been doing very intensively the past couple of years, and Alex can confirm that, that's talking with companies. We've had meetings since 2012, 13, I don't remember. We've had meetings with IBM, with KPN, with APG, with Atos, with Accenture, name it. And if there's been one theme, or actually a few themes that were recurring in those discussions, either explicitly or implicitly, then of course on the one hand, and that was mainly when we were talking about, let's say, job profiles of the future, then a few themes came back in those discussions. A few obvious ones, of course, such as data, analytics, that was important. Some soft skills like intercultural capabilities, social intelligence. But if there was one theme that came back time after time, then it was multidisciplinarity, which you could describe as, let's say, the ability to talk the language of data scientists, of service designers, of data managers, to talk those different languages, and at the same time be able to kind of manage teams that consist of such different people. So that's the sort of multidisciplinarity that many companies are interested in these days. And well, let that exactly be what this master program is aiming for. We try to train multidisciplinary students that speak those different languages to certain, and develop a certain depth in those specializations, but at the same time are able to manage teams that consist of people that belong to those different specializations. Because innovation, in the end, innovation is not something that comes from silo thinking. In a way, you have to kind of transcend those different silos and bring together these specializations to develop innovations. And that's exactly what we are doing in this master program. People get a training in business analytics, of course. We'll do courses in service design. But the real, let's say, what you could call cherry on the cake is our project-based learning, because students will have to participate for almost 1/4 of the study load. They will have to participate in projects, what we call smart service innovation projects. And exactly in those projects, they will train that multidisciplinarity. They will be put together in teams of, let's say, 5 people, and we will make sure that within those teams we have students with more of an interest in service design, other students will have more of an interest in data analytics, data management, business intelligence systems. We put them together into one team, so we kind of create what you could call a multidisciplinary microcosmos, if you will, in which students have to learn to interact and speak those different languages. So we are really addressing a specific need, a very specific one, but let's say omnipresent need in the labor market.
Well,
maybe I can contribute to that, because what I'm also already experiencing within my current job. So as I told before, I'm now working at Mercedes-Benz. And also in our company, you really see that there's really a need for this kind of studies and also for this kind of specialism. So as you were saying, business intelligence, data analytics is already becoming more and more important, as it already was important, of course. And what I already see as well is that there are my former students, for example, they almost everyone already also got a job in the same fields. So that's quite a positive thing to see that there's so much need actually for this kind of people in multiple businesses. So as I'm talking about maybe the automotive industry, but you will also see people who are now working, as you say, in Accenture, or for example Shell. And I think it's really interesting because when you look at business intelligence in general, there are so many different topics which you can also address. So also if you're personally interested in a specific field, sorry, I will slow down a little bit, then it's also very interesting for you that you can specialize, and there's really a need for the specialism as well. So this offers great opportunities, not only for the students in my opinion, but also for the companies, because when you will work, for example, in this project-based learning environment, or maybe as a thesis internship program, it also gives the companies already an impression of the students, and this offers, of course, also great job opportunities for the students afterwards.
Yeah,
so I
sure.
think this is very positive for in both ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And last week we've been also visiting the Business Intelligence and Smart Service Institute with some of the prospective students. So maybe it will be also good later on. I will ask you also what is this component really, how is this playing within the master Business Intelligence Smart Service. But something that actually has been mentioned is this project-based learning. So I would like to hear a little bit more. Well, of course, I know what it is about, but I think most of the students here would be really interested in knowing how it is going to be really organized. Anybody of you would like to?
Well, I can continue. Basically, University of Maastricht is famous because of the problem-based learning and all this environment, where students are learning by doing exercises, by doing the tasks, by jointly working on some little things that actually help them to understand, to get some knowledge, to get some skills. It's not only about, it's basically can be implemented, this approach can be implemented in theory, in practice, everywhere, but we decided actually to go a little bit further. What does it mean, a little bit further? We decided to create actually an environment of real life projects. So basically, how does it work? We do have a campus in Heerlen, and in this campus, actually, there is a building where a lot of companies are present. So APG is there, Accenture, so again, name it. Well, very many startups. And those companies, well, actually, they're there because they want to solve some data-driven problems. They want to participate in this big data field, and not only for the practical reasons to solve their own problems, but also for the development reasons. So to actually to co-create something with the university, with the province, etc., etc. So all these companies are actually willing to contribute to the program by means of providing the problems, the projects, the data, and basically the idea is as follows: we take real life problem. It could be even open-ended, so it could be ongoing feature, so ongoing task of real life people on the floor. And then the task of the students would be to actually accomplish about the same project in real life within a term of one semester. So basically a company gives a task, and this is real life task. And then students, again, in teams of 5, well, let's say in teams of 5, they are working together on a specific project which is led not only by scientific personnel, but also led by the coaches and representatives from the field. And everything is supported with real life data. So it's, in fact, they are working, it's like an internship, but internship embedded in the teaching environment and in the learning environment of the program. And this way, they not only learn the skills and knowledge on the theory, but they also develop actually quite practical skills, and they learn how to work with each other on real life problems. They learn how to manage the time. They learn a lot of practical things, and we think that this is actually nowadays crucial skills.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And well, that's exactly what we think of the projects.
Can I respond to
Yeah.
that?
Yes, please. Well, maybe you can add something also from your experience also with some of the students that just joined, and I think that the thesis internship program you participated could be something interesting for them.
Yes, because I think this way of approaching this is, as what is said, very beneficial also for the company, of course, because what I'm also noticing when I was graduated, and of course you also are in contact with other students who are also graduated and were searching for a job. And well, I was lucky in that case that I got hired immediately, but there are also students who are still searching, and then work experience is one of the most important things also for companies to actually hire you, yes or no. And specifically, I think in this field of business intelligence, which is quite technical, you, at least what I noticed, there are also a lot of people who are quite technical and who did not always follow a master program, which is not bad at all because they gained experience in a different way. But sometimes I noticed that it's also hard for them then to see what are the benefits really of a scientific study. And I think this is actually a great opportunity and an improvement to other master programs, because in this way you already have a kind of a work experience, because you can indicate that you worked on real life projects in a real life environment with people who face this problem maybe on a daily basis. And this could really be, I think, an advantage for you compared to other students who do not have this experience and should work on maybe more theoretical cases. So in that sense, I think this is really valuable for both parties again.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that indeed this component of the project-based learning, of course, is something that we probably know has been an upgrade to the problem-based learning. And this is something maybe I think our audience for sure is interested in. And by the way, I want to take the chance also to welcome all the participants again. I already just saw that there is a participant from Uganda, so I think that our reach is quite big at the moment, so I'm happy. And again, I want to remind to the audience, in case you have questions, feel free to drop them here. I would be really happy to moderate them to the coordinators or to Aranka.
Was there a question about the thesis internship program, or was it just a general?
There's no question, but I think that it's good to explain what exactly is, and maybe what was your experience with
yes,
that.
of course. So as I indicated earlier, I started the thesis internship program last year, February. Basically what we did is, I worked on a topic which was trending at that moment at Mercedes-Benz. And it was something related to reporting on global scale and changing the reporting landscape actually, so to a more business intelligence kind of way. So this is, I thought it was a really interesting topic. And yes, my thesis was about actually how data visualization and specifically graph framing effects had an effect on the perception and human decision making. So this is also a little bit related to the psychologic, I would say, because I was really interested in that field as well, and behavioral economics. But I think on the other hand, it really shows you that you're also quite still able to select a topic that's also of interest of you, because you can choose a business intelligence topic, but it's not limited to a certain scope whatsoever, because there are a lot of elements which you can combine, and then maybe within a project base it, your task, I would say, on that, or maybe for your thesis internship program. I think my experiences with the university during that time were really great. I had the opportunity to be really flexible in the days that I worked at the company and the work days that I worked also on my thesis. So I can only actually say positive things about that. That's a good thing. Of course, it can be different. It's also a little bit student dependent, but on the other hand, I only heard positive things also from my fellow students. And I think it offers a really great opportunity to also eventually start and for your working experience, what I indicated as well. So it's really practical. You work on this task for 4 maybe to 6 months, and you can really go in depth. And yeah, I only had positive experiences with that. So
Maybe it's good to add that
Yeah.
this is one way of doing your master thesis, right? The thesis internship program has been there for quite a while now, also outside the BizMaster. But we expect that especially within the BizMaster, this tip way of doing your thesis is going to be particularly popular, exactly because students are in a program where there's a lot of opportunity to reach out to companies, and then of course I can imagine that students will be enthusiastic to also write their thesis, not only the project but also the thesis in collaboration with a company. But still there is the freedom, there is the possibility to write a more academic thesis with a more exclusively academic contribution. But we think that especially in this master program, the tip thesis way of doing your master thesis is going to be particularly popular.
Yeah. For sure. And I think that this was indeed one of the questions asked last week during the visit to the Business Intelligence and Smart Service Institute. It would be also very good to explain what would be the role of the institute within the program. And also question was also sometimes practical, how often will be there, or some insight on that would be, I think, very useful for the audience.
I can take that one.
Sure.
Let me say this is an University of Maastricht program, but that said, the Business Institute, so the Business Intelligence and Smart Services Institute, plays a crucial role in the whole story. Actually, the past year we've been in very close contact with Professor Rudolf Müller, who's the scientific director of the Business Institute, and he's been very closely involved in setting up this master program. The first role of the Business Institute, I would say, is that it offers the, let's say, the environment to get in contact with companies exactly for those projects that we've been talking about extensively already. It offers an ecosystem, so to speak, where all those companies get together. And I mean, if the Business Institute wouldn't have been there, we had to develop it to have a hub that brings us in touch with companies. But it's there, so it would be stupid not to use it. So this campus, this Smart Services campus in Heerlen, where the Business Institute is located, is going to be really crucial for those projects. Several partners of the Business Institute have already expressed their interest and enthusiasm about the program. And in fact, I think we can reveal already that the first project that students will have to work on will be in collaboration with APG, which is a partner of the Biz Institute. There are many more companies, of course. So let's say in the first place, the Business Institute is our bridge. It's the bridge, so to speak, between university and the corporate world. And then second, but still much related to this, the Business Institute will also be the physical location where students will have to will have the opportunity to meet on a regular basis with the companies, with people that are working in the Business Institute, because the Business Institute itself on a daily basis is involved in the development of smart services. Right. So there is a lot of expertise in that institute. And students, of course, will get access to that expertise and to the physical location also of that institute.
Sure.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is there actually a limit to the amount of students who can apply to the master?
No, there is only sort of a business plan that we have, but there is no limit.
Okay,
and why would that be a concern?
No, I was only wondering because you have, of course, this projects where you base a master on. So I was thinking, because I think it's a really great opportunity, since you already noticed that there are also a lot of network possibilities in this situation, of course. So even if you're not interested, maybe to work in a company of APG, then you're still in this campus where you can connect with a lot of people, which is, of course, really interesting.
Sure.
And then I was wondering, if you have this project-based learning, actually, then you should also have maybe a limit of projects, or yeah, well, can imagine that there are a lot of problems which can be solved, but based on that, if you have 5 students per project, I was just...
It's a good question, it's a practical question. Especially in the first year that we will offer this program, students will work on the same project. So there's going to be one partner, one company that offers the problem, and students will work in teams of 5 who work on that same problem. Of course, they will kind of, you know, concoct their own version of the research problem, of the problem at hand. But the material that is offered by the company, so to speak, is going to be initially the same for all teams.
Are they also evaluated based on the how you say it, the evaluation of the companies themselves, or is it
well,
also
advisory role? So all the representatives of the companies do have advisory role in the evaluation of the projects. So that's for sure. But adding to what Bram said, actually we do have project per semester. It means that there will be 2 already in the first year, and actually we are now in the process of the selection of the second project of year 1. It's well, and all doors are open, so we basically we are searching for a really nice project already for the spring of 2018.
Yeah, so there are essentially 2 projects per year to be worked on by the different teams, one in the first semester and one in the second semester. But for now, the project in the first semester is the same for all teams, same for the project in the second semester.
Okay.
Talking about, well, particular things regarding the project. So we do expect that all students will be in the BIS campus, in the BIS Institute, at least 1 day a week, something like that. So this day right now is kind of prefixed, it's Wednesday, so basically every Wednesday people should go to Heerlen, but there are all facilities, so it's really beautiful building, beautiful lecture hall with a lot of chairs, it's really nice atmosphere, glass doors, glass walls, even visualization lab, a lot of well, technical equipment, gadgets. I'm an old-fashioned guy, but I'm kind of impressed what people have there. So it's really nice atmosphere and it's really nice environment to be and to work in.
Great. Well, I understood from the audience that maybe there are some issues with the live stream. I hope that at the moment we are live. But meanwhile, we can go ahead because I'm pretty sure.
We already got a few questions. You saw them as well.
Yeah,
I think there was some
I've seen
issues with the audio, but if you have your screen opened, make sure that you don't double tap it because it opens in another screen.
Okay.
Then it messes up.
Yeah. Great.
But let us know if you have any issues. Then
sure. Yeah, exactly. I would say if you can at the moment see it, then please let us know if there are any issues. Please address them. But I think that we got already some questions, so I think that it's good to bring them here. One good question from Sasha is if this master is going to be more theoretical oriented or more practical, meaning usage of certain statistical application and programming. So how is going to be?
Well, it definitely, we already explained the whole story, and the whole story was about the practice and about the approach that leads to the skills and knowledge through the exercises, through the drill, through the solving real life problems. So basically, we do emphasize on the practical side of the story, but of course, you need quite some background. So we are talking about data analytics, we are talking about development of smart services, so we are talking about information systems. So all these elements need quite some theoretic background, but well, students will be actually getting all these skills and all this knowledge through the drill, through the practical solutions of the exercises.
Is the software that they can use or can work with, is it all provided by the university?
Well, actually, already in the very first course that students will have in business analysis, we are trying to actually teach basics of the open source software. So in particular, for instance, there will be even a little bit of programming skills provided in this business analysis course.
In R, right?
In
R.
R. So I
Okay,
can
yeah.
announce it right away. And then, well, of course, when you are talking about information systems, there will be quite some sessions of the specialized courses, which are devoted to the existing systems, existing in practice systems, exploited by different companies. So this is also to kind of bridge the gaps between the practice and again the
Yeah, theory.
Well, I hope that this answered your question, and also a question from Federico, and I think it's also connected to what you just said. Are you considered as an applicant if you don't have much coding and IT background?
The answer is, the a priori answer is yes. So we are looking for multidisciplinary. So the goal is to train students to become multidisciplinary and to be able to manage such multidisciplinary teams, but also means that we need to cater to a rather heterogeneous audience. We need actually students with many different interests and many different, let's say, amounts of prior knowledge. So there is a certain minimum requirement, let's say, in terms of basic statistics, in terms of some knowledge of inferential statistics will be relevant, but prior coding experience is not such a prerequisite. We do want to have students that have that. We do want to have students that already have a bit of a feel for service design.
No.
But that's not because this is an absolute necessity to be able to follow the courses, but rather to be able to create that environment in which different students with different preferences and different levels of expertise can interact.
Right.
For instance, even in projects, we will try to blend actually. So these teams of 5 people will be a composition of 3 kind of in-streams, intakes. So one should be responsible for the smart services, another one should be responsible for the data analytics and for the more technical side of the story, and a third one would be for more information management and, well, the information side. So basically this blend is our goal for each team, and apparently every team will have a technical person, we hope, that each team will have this technical person, but actually the mix, the multidisciplinary environment, this is the ultimate goal, not per se the technical side of the story of the data analytics.
Yeah. Right.
That said, of course, in the admission process, we do take into account whether there is a minimum level of prior statistical and mathematical knowledge.
Yeah.
But for most of the students, that is present.
It's not different than for other master programs, I believe, so then, right?
No, so actually the admission process that we are using to a large extent corresponds to the one that is used for our general international business master program.
Well, I thank you very much for the answer. I think it's quite clear, but please do let us know if you have any questions in that direction. I also see at the moment a question from Arno about the content of the program, asking how does this new master program differ from the business intelligence and information management master specialization, and I suppose that Arno is asking the one within the international business we have.
Well, actually, I'm one of the coordinators of the IMBI as well, which is very logical. In IMBI track of in IMBI specialization of the IB program, I'm responsible for this BI part, for the business intelligence part. And actually, this is very, it's continuously asked questions, so this is asked many times. So basically, in the program, in the BIS program, we go far beyond all the things which are in the IMBI specialization of the IB program. What do I mean? In the IMBI specialization, there are basically only 2 courses regarding the business intelligence. One course is business analysis, and another course is business intelligence case studies. Well, in this master, in the newly created master program, we will have actually the whole specialization with all the courses from the analytics and from business intelligence, and we also complement it with information systems, specialization of the BIS master, and we also complement it with the smart services. So basically we have kind of three pillars of one big program. And so I just compared the content of the courses, and even content-wise, it will be completely different. So for instance, business analysis course of information management and business intelligence track consists of a couple of operations research techniques and a couple of really light statistical tools. While business analytics course in the BIS master, it's really deep course, quite technical though, on the artificial intelligence techniques, and it addresses about 8 to 10 tools that are present in the field of analytics and business intelligence, which is absolutely to know, and this is actually the background for all the studies nowadays done in the data analytics. So I would say BIS is going far beyond the IMBI track, because time flies, and we are also developing, and we are also trying to catch the train, right?
I feel like studying again.
That's a good one.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
We welcome you again. I also thank you very much for the answer, and I think that it's also good to answer the question from Anna, who is asking if it will be possible to participate in additional classes of other areas, for example, finance or sustainability or any other. So
If you have some electives, is the question, or just...
yeah, well, the question is quite general and is asking if it's possible perhaps to prolong the duration of the study. If this is something you can answer, otherwise we'll get back to Anna later on from your perspective.
Well, the answer is that it's a complete package. So there are certain electives in the program. Sustainability, or a separate course on sustainability, is not one of them. There are electives in the program. Students after the Christmas break can opt to either specialize in service design, or alternatively business analytics, or as a third option, business intelligence systems. So that's the freedom they have. In a way, what we are doing is we are trying to, what we call, it's a bit of a technical term, a T-shaped profile. So people can develop sort of an in-depth knowledge, and that's the vertical bar of the T, in-depth knowledge within a certain area, service design, business analytics, or business intelligence systems. Develop a certain in-depth knowledge in an area, but then referring to the flat part, the horizontal bar of our T-shaped profile, that's referring to students' ability to communicate with all those different people that specialize in service design, specialize in business analytics, and specialize in business intelligence systems. Right. So if that is our goal, of course, then we have to make sure that the program is kind of self-contained, that we offer these different specializations, but at the same time make sure that people develop some expertise in each of these three areas. So this is that's an opportunity in a way. So we give that freedom, but at the same time, to some extent, we should also limit. That's a downside. We should kind of limit the freedom, because otherwise we're not delivering what we promise to the labor market.
Absolutely.
In the nutshell, well, we don't have a room actually for extra electives. And I guess the program will be so dense that, extracurricular activities, you simply cannot tackle it.
Yeah.
But technically speaking, it's of course possible to, purely theoretically, it's possible to add courses, but not within
Mhm.
the BIS master as such.
So you have to prolong it, then that's the only option.
Prolong it. There are different tricks, I would say, to extend your stay at Maastricht University and add other courses. But the BIS master program itself
Yeah.
is a self-contained program.
Okay. Well, I hope it answered your question, Anna. Otherwise, feel free also to send us a PM afterwards, and we can check also within our faculty which possibility we have. But I think this was explained in the sense of this. And of course, I see also here a question from Guy asking about the data analytics specialization, if will be taught in R. Well, I think you already answered that. I don't know
Yes.
if you want to
Well,
add anything.
we will try to be actually very consistent in the choice of the software packages used. So basically, if you follow business analytics track, for instance, then it will be R from the very first course on, and finishing with your probably even with a thesis, master thesis.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much. Well, I think we got some question from the audience, and I think that it's good to look also the details. But at a certain point, I'm also wondering, let's say on a very broader perspective, I'm pretty sure that most of you at the moment are thinking, okay, I'm gonna study business intelligence smart service. What is gonna be next? What could be my next future step career? And I think that's a question that I got, but I actually want some of you, and for sure Bram and Alex first to answer to that, also to give some insight on this career future.
Well, I expected this question. So basically, in the morning I was just screening my LinkedIn connections and seeing what are the typical positions of my former students from the sister program, from the IP track on IMBY. And I realized that, well, majority of the crowd is basically employed as data analysts, as data consultants, but some of people already reached some head positions. So, for instance, I do have a head of business intelligence in one of the banks in Estonia, and head of a unit in Finnair or something like that. So these are typical positions: analysts, business analysts, data analysts, data scientists. But your growth is actually unlimited to the CEOs, right? As usual.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is not a joke, especially in companies that are focusing on business intelligence, whose service is business intelligence. There, of course, the sky is the limit. And actually, I know of a guy that's a long time ago, that I graduated with. And my background is in quantitative economics, so very technical, econometrics focused. I know of a guy that became CEO of Ogilvy New York. Ogilvy is one of the advertising research companies. He became CEO of Ogilvy New York with a very technical background. So especially companies that are very much focused on business intelligence, whose product is business intelligence, there, of course, you can basically take any position if that is your ambition, of course. Sector-wise, maybe that's something to add as well. Sector-wise, you can end up basically everywhere. You can go from telecom, financial services, consumer packaged goods. All those companies are, which is also the reason of existence of this master program, all those companies are sitting on a mountain of data. They have ideas of what to do with it. That's also the reason why we have projects that students can work on. But often they lack the skills and the exact people to fully exploit the potential of the data, to kind of bridge the gap between the data and the people, to translate the data into useful insights via dashboards and so on. And that's what they often miss.
Yeah.
I think also for students it might be interesting to just Google for some vacancies related to topics that you like, maybe business analytics, maybe data scientist or business intelligence. And I think you would definitely see that maybe this description is not always that concrete, because that's something that I noticed as well. A lot of companies are indicating that they would like to have some person who has a knowledge in this certain field, but don't really know exactly which way to go. But I think that's also just a great opportunity as well. because that gives you the opportunity to also contribute really something that's from yourself and what has your self-interest as well. And then you can in like, I don't know, endless directions, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I would like also to have from your perspective, because you, Hanka, you are in the corporate environment, as you said, Mercedes-Benz, and you are in contact with several entities within your company, but I'm sure also with the external provider. Without telling us any specific, but from your perspective, what is the need at the moment of data analytics or data management in that sense?
Well, first of all, I can say that with Mercedes-Benz, we are anyhow always searching for new people as well, but I think that's not something which is really specific for our company only. So what I personally see is that there are a lot of companies who currently have the need for students which are fresh and new and also very flexible, I think, in this field. And also for people who have a lot of senior knowledge. So that's something, yeah, of course, as you are just graduated, you cannot contribute to that yet. But personally, I think I already see a move from companies who first are searching for like senior parties to an interest in also graduates, which are very new, very flexible, but also can innovate and be very creative in the company and add something in a different way. Because I think really, yeah, the world is changing, of course. Also, demands from companies are changing. The things that we can contribute as an employee, but also as new students, are different than before. And I realized that multiple companies already in my direct environment are also changing from their needs. So they are not always interested anymore in people who have a lot of experience or a lot of knowledge on a specific topic, but also in students who are creative, bring new ideas, have worked with several programs. So not specifically that you need to work with one software program, but maybe with multiple, maybe some Tableau, some R, some different skills. And then if you are actually, if you then have the attitude as a student of the Maastricht University, I can say that you are, I think you have quite a strong profile. You are then flexible, you can work very independently. I think that's also one of the demands nowadays. I think there are a lot of opportunities, so.
Yeah.
Can I add one more thing? Because
Sure,
we've been
please.
talking now purely about bigger companies, but nowadays you see that much of the innovation, with all due respect, of course, for Mercedes, but a lot of innovation comes from young startups.
That's true.
So also there are quite some opportunities. So if you're very entrepreneurial in mind, in nature, then this master program might also equip you with the skills and the knowledge to venture into your own business.
To compete? No.
Not to compete, not in the automotive industry necessarily, but a lot of the innovation comes from.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Startup.
And to add to this, actually, in this institute, there are quite some startups on the floor. So,
Yeah,
and
we've
I
seen
I
it.
can easily imagine that a year or 2 years from now, one of the projects will be actually not provided by the bigger company or bigger player, but by a simple startup.
Yeah. Well, I think this answer already most of the question. I already seen a very specific one from Nadine, and maybe it could be good to give some answer on that. What would be, since we are talking about career prospect and jobs, what would be a graduate job difference, let's say, from the Beastmaster compared to the graduate from the IMBY program? So again, for who is here listening in the audience, the IMBY is the specialization part of the international business program we have.
That's a good one.
I can already touch upon one thing, and I think that's multidisciplinarity. Students that follow the Beastmaster, and I have no interest in advertising the MB program, people that follow the Beastmaster will also take courses in service design. And that makes them more multidisciplinary in training in nature when they graduate than graduates from the MB program, which makes them also more fit to actually, and I'm not, let's say, contesting or denying the fact that also MB students might be able to do that, but they are better fit, I believe, to lead a multidisciplinary team that has to develop smart services, because they speak the languages of different people in such a team.
Definitely.
Additionally, they might also have more already experience in the field than what we were discussing earlier, right?
Yeah.
Because I think the MB program will still be, how I say it, PBL, so the problem-based learning, right?
Well, we don't
Most
touch.
likely.
Yeah, it will live its own
Remain.
life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay.
Well, I definitely also can add something to that, because I remember from my experience in the corporate environment that indeed you need a certain amount of skills on different areas. So I think that this ingredient that I understood in BIS is present will actually develop you in more than one area. So you will be able to speak to any type of profile, to the specialist, to the manager, and so on. So this will definitely enrich you. So that was indeed a good question. We can also interact with Guy, that is quite active in questions, and we appreciate that. He's asking, what are the main topics of the business analytics specialization? Will machine learning be covered in more depth during this specialization?
Definitely. So the very first course of the program is business analytics, and in this course specifically we will address, as I said, 8 to 10 very specific tools from artificial intelligence, and well, basically it's machine learning indeed. So the professor who teaches this course is not only the specialist in the area, Rui Alameda, he's also actually one of the project managers at BIS Institute, so he is involved in quite some projects on the floor, so he's knowledgeable in both theory and the industrial practice. So he knows not only what are specific topics in the machine learning, but also how to implement and how to apply it to real life problems. If we are talking about really deep specifics, so like specific topics, then what can I mention? So he is specifically specialist in the area of fuzzy systems, and this is, for instance, one of his last lectures in the course of business analysis, business analytics, and he starts, of course, with quite some simplified techniques like discriminant analysis, like statistical tools in clustering algorithms. So it will be quite technical course, but the follow-up of this course in the business analytics track, business analytics specialization of BIS, would be predictive and prescriptive analytics done by Nell and Bastur, and this is basically tough, really deep statistical skills and knowledge. And then it will be also the course on smart decision support systems. It's more applied, but still quite technical story about analytics.
Yeah.
And of course, and next to that kind of pre-programmed part of the master program, there are the projects. And the project, it's project-based learning, so it's not only applying what they learn in those courses, but also learning new stuff, because every project will be different, every project will offer new challenges, and will thus require students to acquire new techniques. That makes it that makes the program dynamic, but that means that students will also learn in those projects. It's not only applying what they learn in other courses, but also learning new material, which can be machine learning, which can be advanced econometrics, and so on.
And a very thank you for the answer, by the way. But I'm already jumping to the next question I see from Kim. It's also very specific. She's asking, could you specify which tools are used in the analytics specialization besides R programming?
Which tools? Software tools.
Yeah.
Suppose.
That's a very good question, Kim, as you can see.
No, I think the agreement within the business analytics program is to mainly use R. That's the agreement within the people teaching in the business analytics specialization track, to mainly use R to create some consistency and synergies between the different courses. Because of course, if students have to acquire have to learn a new tool, software package in every course, then you have to spend some time on setting up that new environment, on becoming familiar with the new techniques, and importantly, of course, R is, and students will be made aware of that in the program, is just one tool, sort of an example of the other tools that are available. In other packages, you can do very similar things, and then I think R is a very good choice, because we call it a tool, but actually it's an environment that offers a platform for many different tools. And so R itself is already a very dynamic, a very flexible and broad platform.
If I can add something to that, from my personal experience, I think that's actually even a better choice, although it might give the idea that you get less opportunity to learn new programs. But for example, I also experienced that I was first used to using SPSS, for example, for the statistics. And then for another course, they switched to Stata, which I was not familiar with at that moment. And although actually the tests that you are doing are of course the same, you notice that you still have to get used to the program, to the interface. It's like if you are used to Windows and you work with Apple, and at least I'm also struggling for a moment. And maybe that's also then the real goal of the course, is not then of course to change from the data analysis tool, analytics tool, but maybe to go more in depth. So I think as a student, eventually this would also contribute more, that you can go in real depth instead of losing a few weeks to get familiar with the program.
And there are alternatives to R, that's beyond question. But if you mention SPSS, if you mention Stata and so on, then given that this is a program about developing smart services, R, arguably, you can have long discussions about this, is the better choice, because R offers also tools to do data visualization. You mentioned Tableau, but there are tools within R actually that allows you to create a dashboard, an online dashboard that gives users direct access to the statistical analysis that you've done in R. There are there are tools for parallel computing in R. There are tools for so many different things in R. And given that the focus is on developing smart services, R, in my opinion, is arguably the better choice.
Yeah.
It's not just a statistical package, it's an environment in which you can create smart services.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at design, maybe there is still time for one more question, and this is something that was asked quite frequently, because we're talking about tools that develop you, but it's very important also to see which kind of environment you would have. So maybe it's interesting to tell something about which kind of background and nationalities you've seen so far with the many applications that we've received. Well,
I think we can give a rather exact answer to that question. That was a question, right? How many what about different nationalities and so on? The people we have admitted so far are from Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, China, and Russia, I think. And I think this is an exhaustive overview of the different nationalities that we have admitted so far. But we've seen people from all over the globe so far that are still in the application process.
Regarding the backgrounds, it's also kind of blended mix of everything. So there are very technical people applying, and there are people from rather smart services corner of the study.
Yeah. Well, that's I think it clarifies also, and you probably already seen it that the Business Intelligence and Smart Service Master has been recently accredited. So we are currently now waiting for the opening of the application on StudyLink. So soon you will be able to apply also via StudyLink, but we already open a internal application where we can already inform you if you are admissible or not according to our requirements. But this is everything on the website, so I don't want to mention too much about this. I've seen also some questions about admission by Luke, but I'm afraid that we are running out of time, but we'll make sure that all questions that were not answered here in this moment, in this hour, will definitely be answered later on. And feel free to comment anything, and for sure we will get back to you. There is still 1 minute, something, anybody of you that would like to close with any information additional?
Well, I hope that we conveyed the main selling proposition of the master program. It's catering to a very specific, very well delineated need of the labor market, with a need that is really omnipresent. So it's and that's a question that we often get from people. I mean, isn't this too specific? Isn't this too labor market oriented? It's a very specific need, but it's currently
broad as well.
It's omnipresent. All companies are facing, many companies are facing this issue, and that makes this a very viable and promising program, I think.
And I guess students will be as excited as we are with this program.
Yeah. Anything from you, Aranka?
Well, I think I should not be the one who has the last word on this on this part, but I'm also very enthusiastic about the program. I think it's a great opportunity for new students, for sure, and I'm completely convinced that there's great opportunities on the labor market as well with this master.
I mean,
sure.
in the future we can welcome Mercedes as one of the partnering companies
sure,
offering a project
to
our students.
Mm-hmm.
This is the beginning of a new cooperation.
For sure.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks to all of you,
Thank
that joined today. Thanks from my side, and again, feel free to give any questions. And for the moment is everything from Maastricht University School of Business and Economics. Thank you.
Thank you.